Hello and welcome to another video by REITspro, the only and the first dedicated channel for REIT and InvIT investing in India. So the uninitiated, let me tell you that InvITs are great stocks which can help you get regular and stable cash flows every quarter. However, this video is specially for the concerns that PG InvIT unit holders have, because they have concerns about the DPU maintenance and growth, and a lot of these questions would be answered while we cover the PG InvIT earning call for Q3 23-24, along with a small recap of what InvITs are, which we do initially. For that, let me introduce myself. I'm Gaurav Jain, and you can get a copy of my books here on Amazon, or you can visit our site reitspro.com. You'll also have plenty of downloadable resources when you go to the main menu and search thereon. So the Powergrid InvIT is a great way to earn stable cash flows, like we said. But what is an InvIT? An InvIT is basically an a way to invest in infrastructure assets. Assets have been categorized as per the harmonized master list into 5 categories as shown above. So essentially they are stocks which can be traded, and there are right now 3 publicly listed InvITs. These can be bought and sold just like regular stocks on the stock market. So if you see here, there are 3 InvITs which we've given here on the screen, and we'll be covering the PG InvIT right now. Here on the right hand side, there is another table which is other InvITs, but they are not available to retail public. The InvIT earning call is interesting this time, and it is summarized and inferred in a sequential manner here. In fact, the earnings call, it has been said that the revenues will dip in 2027-28, and this would be in case no addition of assets are there, although the Powergrid parent is an asset-rich company. And also things like the payout, how it's the same, what is the reserve depletion, and also the NAV valuation impact of other factors and so on. All these factors would be covered in this current video here. Transcript, you can go to the PG InvIT website. The snapshot of that is given on the top here, and the inference that the DPU can be maintained only if PG InvIT expands its asset base. So and that's very important also, because right now there are a lot of unit holders. In fact, if you see on the screen, from the time of the IPO, where the unit holders were around 15,000 in 2021 mid, the number of PG InvIT unit holders have risen to something like 1.4 lakh unit holders. Now, if you recall, in October 23, we posted a video on why PG InvIT is below the IPO price, and we listed 4 main factors, which is fear of stagnation, NAV versus market price, dip in growth from existing assets, and dip into reserves. This current video dives deeper into that with references from the audio call, and the objective here is to see the current and future prospects, and 4 factors that we'll cover would be on the base of assets, NAV, reserves, and debt, and how the PG InvIT looks like in the future. But before that, let's have a look at the PG InvIT at a glance. What we have here is that these are the basic things that you should all have a look at. You can just pause here and see this. But earning call talks about summarily a DPU of 3 rupees per unit. Currently, as on date of making this video, the price is around 96-97 rupees, and the LTV is 1% loan to value. The AUM, the assets under management for PG InvIT, is around 8,600 crore rupees. The business is mainly power transmission assets. Short here. Let's go a little deeper now. Now, the question was regarding revenue calculation and growth, and whether inflation is built into the revenues or not. So the answers here are that the tariffs are actually fixed tariffs based on the quotes that were initially given for each asset. Secondly, it is not a volume into value game. There was a fixed tariff for the asset that was quoted, and because of that, there'll be a dip somewhere in 2027 or so, which is built into the quoted figures. And if there is no addition of assets, DPU of 12 rupees, which is currently the DPU will not be maintained. So this is something that was answered in the earnings call also. Now, the four steps we go by is the revenues and payouts or the DPU. Secondly, the assets, how the expansion and current assets and everything's going to pan out probably as per the earning call. And thirdly, what is the NAV today and what does it look like in the future? Fourthly, what is the debt today and how does it look like in the future? Obviously, all these parameters are linked to each other, and this is what we'll unravel one by one here. So if you look at the PG InvIT payout guidance, the one question was, what is the payout guidance this year and the next? And the answer was that it's on track this year. For the next year, we'll need to wait to comment. And that is quite fair that you can't give a payout guidance for the next year. The second thing is that there was a question about dipping into reserves. So it was about, how PG InvIT has maintained the consistency of 3 rupees per quarter and the fear was that it's dipping into reserves. So the answer by the management was that there was a minimal dip in cash to cash basis from the time of IPO to now. That was a very clear answer. Then another question also about whether the DPU would go down, revenues would go down over a period of time after 2027, and the answer was categorically a yes. See, and it was also said that the only way to maintain DPU is value accretive asset addition. That is something that we should be very clear about, that the structure that we've just explained, how the structure of those commitments in these assets was that the tariffs would go down in the year 2027 or so. And for this, you need to see the reports, the annual reports and the valuation reports. We've just covered the payouts. Now let's come to the assets. Now the asset related discussions, there are 2-3 points also. The first is about the remaining 26% stake. So if you see the chart above, it is about the current stake of PG InvIT in the subsidiaries. So it has 100% in VTL, however, 74% each in the other four. It has 5 transmission assets. So there was a talk about 26% stake, when it will be acquired, and is it DPU accretive or not? So the answer by the management was that it does not really make financial difference because there'll be loan for acquisition and interest and repayments of the loan. But the operational smoothness could become better and the whole is better than the part, so they would try later again. They have already tried once, and the parent company is not willing currently to part with the 26% stake. However, it will not be DPU accretive. It will have no impact on the DPU. So that's as far as the DPU thing is concerned. It's quite clear that this 26% will not make a difference in the 12 rupees DPU that we are as unit holders getting currently. Now the next about asset was about the pipeline addition. What are the assets that are there in pipeline? So the pipeline assets were very small ones of 18 crores and 40 crores, and they would actually commence in about 1 or 2 years. As a percentage, they are extremely insignificant because we've just outlined that the total AUM is around 8,600 crores. On that, 45, 50, 60 CR of new projects hardly makes too much of a dent as far as the earning is concerned, or the upside is concerned of the earnings. Then the another discussion was about how the new assets would be acquired. So the answer was obviously that will be as per guidelines, and there are not too many opportunities. The opportunities today, because as per the guidelines, they need to take the InvIT needs to take completed assets, and they should not be they should be earning something and so on. So these opportunities would come in only after 12 to 18 months. Then there are also some state-owned assets which are under consideration for monetization. So this is one avenue that PG InvIT is also looking at. And additionally, one more positive here is that there is going to be sufficient debt headroom, because the structure, the whole InvIT structure is actually geared to take that debt and buy assets as and when the opportunities arise. Now, there is also in the Q2, there was also a statement of net asset at fair value, or the NAV shared, and the NAV was around 86 rupees with an enterprise value also there on the screen. And it was asked why this kind of an NAV is not there in the reports this time. So the outcome of that question was that that's not required because the debt is less than 48%. It'll again be done in 2024 March, and the NAV obviously can change as it would be done by a valuer appointed by the company. And another interesting question, that if the interest cost rise, then what will happen to the valuation and the NAV? So the answer was yes, of course, it will have an inverse relationship because it will dip within an increase in interest rates and vice versa. The debt quantity is extremely low right now, so the impact on cash flows is not there. Had there been a large amount of debt, then obviously it would have impacted cash flows. Question about what is the kind of headroom we have for debt. So if you see, the debt is only about 1.2% of AUM. This has been clarified in the earlier video also, and the answer by management was that we have a huge headroom of about 16,000 crores. So if you see today, the assets are about 8,500 crore rupees. So this is a large number for them to take more assets, which is a very, very positive point with PG InvIT. So as an example, the benefit of this headroom is that if suppose a debt is taken as at 8.25% in an SPV and the tax thereon is assumed at 35%, then the net cost of these debt funds is only about 5%, which is extremely good because the rest amount can be used to give out extra income to the current unit holder. So this is one big factor that PG InvIT has. Now, before I go on further, I'd like to tell you that you can visit our site and there are lots of resources like books, videos, and there is also a WhatsApp group, downloads, and so on. So the WhatsApp group you could connect with a lot of people who are also interested in discussing about REITs and InvITs. Now, let's just do a quick comparison at a glance of PG InvIT. So I'm comparing it to Indigrid InvIT, which is now also into power transmission assets. However, it has diversified, which we'll see a little later. So the DPU for PG InvIT is 3 rupees this quarter, and Indigrid has declared a 3.55 DPU. LTV is 1%, and LTV in case of Indigrid is more than 60%. AUM is 8,600 crores or so. AUM in case of Indigrid is 27,000 crores, whereas in case of PG InvIT, it's 8,600 crores. The main business in PG InvIT is still transmission assets. However, Indigrid happens to have moved on also into batteries and solar. If you see their latest reports, they are touching around 20% for solar power assets also. If one compares Indigrid to PG InvIT, we can also see that PG InvIT has not been very proactive and aggressive in growing its asset base. That's one of the main lackings that has been there, and compared to PG InvIT, Indigrid InvIT, because they have seen and acquired assets, and they have not, in fact, taken the debt of the advantage of debt financing, which Indigrid has, and this has actually limited its DPU growth. The DPU in case of Indigrid is growing, whereas in PG InvIT it is stagnant, and lots of fears are there. Investor fears are there, and of course the asset base has also, the mix has also changed in case of Indigrid. It's been probably a little more aggressive in this whole game than PG InvIT. So thank you so much, and do connect with us by WhatsApp or Telegram and write to us. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe to our video. Thank you so much.